Well, hello, welcome back. It's Raven, and today I wanted to try building from a floor plan that I found online. I have so many floor plans saved on Pinterest that I've just scrolled through and thought, oh, this would be fun to build, this would be fun to build. But of course, it's really, really difficult because the way floor plans are designed for real life houses doesn't really match up with the way The Sims works, the way build mode works. So I found one that I thought was simple enough on the outside, and the inside was a little bit tricky in some parts. I decided to leave the photo and the floor plan up on the screen for most of the build part because I know when I like to watch other people's floor plan builds, sometimes they'll mention something that's in the floor plan, but I don't know what it looks like. I have to go back to the beginning of the video where they first showed it. So I decided to just leave it up there as long as it's not in the way. Just so, if you want to compare as I'm building, it's there for you. It was a little bit difficult to kind of figure out the sizes of these rooms, especially with that massive garage. It ended up way too big. So later on, I kind of fixed it a little bit. But the garage looks a lot smaller in the photo of the real house compared to how I have it here. But it ended up working out in the end. So the kitchen, I don't know if you can see really closely on the floor plan, it has what looks like an island with some stools on it. And then next to that, it says dining. I was looking at this photo on my phone, so it wasn't super clear. At the end of this video, I have the floor plan much bigger so you can actually see what it says on there. I should have looked at it on my computer, but it would have been a lot clearer. But it just says dining, so I figured maybe that's where a dining table is meant to go. But when I built it and I put in that island, it came out so massive. I couldn't really make it small enough to fit 4 stools because of, I guess, just how The Sims works. I decided to just leave the island and not put in a separate dining room or dining table. And I think it worked out pretty well. It looks pretty fancy the way I have the stools set up. This bathroom was kind of hard to tell what that little cutout part was where I put the shower. It kind of looks like a linen closet in the photo a little bit, but I thought I'd just shove a little shower in there. And I thought it might be kind of awkward with how I placed the toilet and the sink next to the door that way, but I think it worked out pretty well. I wanted to keep the colors nice and light in there, so it kind of make it look a bit bigger. So I'm moving to the outside. I blew up the picture here a little bit because it it kind of looks like it's on a foundation, but not really. Like the bottom fourth of the walls are this like light brick color. And I haven't really played around with the new platforms feature that we have yet. So I didn't want to try to mess around with that while I was trying to record a speed build. So I just put it up on a little bit of a foundation. The roofing was pretty simple. I just needed 4 pieces, quick and easy. It's part of the reason why I chose this particular design because of the roofing. I looked at it and I was like, oh, that looks easy enough. But the shingle, the colors of the shingles on the top roof part, I couldn't find a wallpaper that fit it exactly. So I kind of stuck with this kind of darker red color. It looks so much better in the picture than it does in the actual build for some reason, but I just left it because that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm not going to try to make it different or anything. And I'm sure there's some way to make curved paths or something, some cheat maybe, or maybe there's a really simple way that I just completely have no idea that it exists, but I just kind of made that curved part of the path with the half floor tiles, and it worked out pretty well. I was gonna try to use terrain paint, but there wasn't like a straight flat just concrete or cement. It was all like stone pathways, if you know what I mean. I cut out a lot of the landscaping process here because there's just so many plants just shoved into that corner next to the front door. I think it's really cute, but I decided to just shove random stuff in there and make it look really, really green and luscious. The garage door, I thought at first about using that big mural thing that came with, I think it was City Living, but it didn't look right. So I just threw down some wallpaper and some windows to make it look like a garage door with some columns on the side. And I don't remember the first place I've seen this done. It was someone else's YouTube video a couple years ago, I think, that I remember seeing them do it, is they used a roof piece to make a ramp for the garage. And I think it worked out pretty well. It looks a little bit weird with the edges of it because it's just kind of it's just a ramp with an edge, and it doesn't really, I don't know, it's weird, but it worked. And I decided to go back in and make all those rooms one tile narrower, so I had to go and redo the ramp. But I think it looks a lot better without having this massively wide garage attached to the house now. So I made everything one tile smaller, and it actually worked. It works a lot better now because the office was also too big and that bathroom was just way too big. So moving on to the furnishing now, I'm starting with the office. And of course in the floor plan there's nothing about furniture or anything, so it's not on the screen anymore now because it's not really relevant, but I decided to just throw in some skill building things, just a little chest table, a couple bookshelves, make it look like a nice simple office. And I just decided to use that same wood floor through the whole build. And I initially wanted to have different paint or different wallpaper in each room depending on, if it's a kid's bedroom or if it's the living room, but I ended up really, really liking this wallpaper that I found for this office. So I decided to just use that in the rest of the house, except for, of course, the bathrooms. So this is the master bathroom. In the floor plan, it showed those little half walls were, I think, full walls in the floor plan, but it just looked really odd when I had it as full walls, so I just changed it to half walls, just kind of open up the space a little bit. And instead of having just a plain white bathroom, I wanted to make a stark contrast with the black floor tiles and the black parts of the wall, and having just white counters, white cabinets everywhere. And I think it turned out really nice. I think just straight black and white just looks really nice. I think it looks modern and fancy. And in the floor plan, it has this as a walk-in closet. And I thought this was a perfect space to put the sliding door closets, because I mean, otherwise I was just going to put a few of those clothing racks and then it might have just looked weird and cluttered. So I would love a walk-in closet like this. This looks great. Have a closet within a closet. So this is the room that's labeled as utility. So I figured I'd just turn this into a laundry room. I'm not sure, based on what it looked like on my phone screen, whether or not it had laundry machines in there, but I decided to put that in there. So I just opened up all items in the Laundry Day stuff pack because I love that pack so much, and I just put all Laundry Day stuff in there. So this tiny little closet on my phone screen, it looked like it just had, not a bathroom, not a closet. It looked like it just had a sink, and I was like, okay, that's weird. It's just a room with a sink in it. Looking at it now on my computer screen, I could see that there was a toilet in there, which I decided to add in the toilet anyway and actually make it into a little half bathroom, and I guess I had it right. Moving out to the living room now, I wanted to actually use all these empty little spaces in this bookcase, but there's like 3 usable like slotted spots on there for stuff to snap to. So of course, if you want to put anything on this bookcase, you have to alt place it, get the bookcase out of the way, and then rearrange it a little bit. This took me quite a while, so I cut out most of it. You can see I put an extra little shelf down on the bottom left with some more books on it and just little clutter items here and there. And it ended up looking quite nice. I was going to put a few more things, but I was kind of running out of patience because every time I put the bookcase back, something was out of line. So I left it as it was. I think I used these couches for basically every build, unless there's some specific style I'm trying to follow, because they're nice and simple. My couch basically looks like this. It's just a different color. It's, as far as I've seen most people's couches. This little corner, I wanted to put a little side table with a plant on it, but the side tables in this game are so big, I sized it down, so of course I had to alt place and lower or use the 9 key to move the little plant so it wouldn't be floating. For this little entry area, I just wanted to put a cute little side table, and I sized down the big like activity bucket thing to make it look like a bowl for keys and stuff, because I didn't want to scroll through the whole debug menu trying to find a usable bowl for this. So I just used that. I sized it down. I put a little backpack, little coat rack, just a few little things that you might find in somebody's entryway. And I put that parenthood thing, the curfew thing. I don't even know what it's called. I always struggle trying to remember what it's called. Moving back to the kitchen, I of course was not going to leave those counters that color. I wanted it to be mostly white, but I like these counters, so I decided to just keep the ones with the black top because there was no fully white swatch. And I like these little dangling lights for right above that fat island right in the middle. Kind of brightens up the place a little bit. And I'm pretty sure those counters didn't come with matching cabinets, but these cabinets are the closest ones. They're just straight white. They look kind of, they're not modern and clean. They're kind of, I don't know the word. The word country living kind of comes to mind for some reason. It's a very like family style country living sort of home, but what do I know about country living? So I love cluttering up a kitchen too. So I just put all kinds of stuff on those counters. And then I had this big blank wall that I wasn't really sure what to do with. I was gonna put an aquarium, but they're so big. Didn't really fit into that space. So I ended up putting up that cork board, and I was going to put some postcards on it. I think I forgot to put the postcards, but I thought that would be a perfect spot for a little keyboard. So just throw in a few more skill building things and just a little wall decor. So that'd be a nice corner for your Sims to practice their musical skills. So moving on now to the master bedroom. I really had no plan for this at all. I just started placing stuff. I at first was going to keep everything dark, and then I changed the bed, and I was like, oh, I really like the white swatch on this bed, even though in a previous build I thought it looked like a hospital bed or something because it was all white, but I ended up using that. And I moved it away from the windows because I'm trying to stop putting beds directly under windows because I realize I do that in almost every build I make. So I wanted to change up the furniture orientation a little bit. Threw on some clutter on the little nightstands. I don't know if it looks weird having that dark color on the nightstands or not, but I kind of left it. And I at first, for some reason, this didn't really feel like an adult master bedroom to me because of the fairy lights that I put above the bed. That's something I would 100% put in my own room. And I ended up, of course, decorating this room kind of the way I would have liked to see it. And instead of remembering, I'm trying to make this look like an adult or a pair of adults lives in this room. And I don't know how to do that, I guess, because when I look at my own bedroom, I have all kinds of nerdy stuff everywhere. I have so many books, 90% of them are YA novels. Like I don't have an adult looking bedroom, basically, even though I am, close to 30 years old. So I guess I did my best with that room. I replaced the lights with a little plant thing, I guess. Adults like plants, right? I don't know. I needed to put a window into that bathroom just to, put something on the exterior wall instead of just having it be a big white wall. So I had to get rid of that light that was next to the bathtub, but I think I like having the window up above the bathtub anyway. So one of these bedrooms I decided to turn into kind of a young, like a teen's bedroom, and I wanted to add a bunch of color in there. So I like this bed frame kind of canopy thing, and I've never used this swatch before. Kind of, it reminded me of summer. It's like a pink lemonade kind of color. So I based the color palette mostly off of that, and I was trying really hard not to overdo it with the pinks and the yellows. I did put a few more yellow items in here, but I was trying to tone it down a little bit. And this little bedside table that I put there, I initially was going to leave it as the yellow swatch, but I was staring at it and I was like, no, it's too much. I ended up leaving that white and kind of trying to put more color back into the clutter I put on top of it, I guess, if that makes sense. And this last bedroom, I decided to just turn that into a guest bedroom. It is the smallest of all the bedrooms, aside from the office, but because the office was labeled as such in the floor plan, I'm not really considering that a bedroom. So because it's the smallest, I'm just making it a guest room, just keeping it very, very simple, kind of darker furniture in here, making it, a little bit cozy, more sparse, less cluttered than the other ones, because, you wouldn't really have a cluttered guest room. I mean, maybe you would, but I don't know. Not for this build, I guess. And that corner was looking a little empty. At first was going to maybe put a desk there, but I thought, hey, what a good spot for an easel in case, you your guest wants to paint, I suppose. Or, any sim could just come in here and paint a little bit. And I initially was going to leave the garage empty because it's not really a usable room, but then I was like, no, Raven, don't be lazy. Just fill it with something. So I just put in a few, those big old cluttery shelf things, and I ended up actually going into the debug menu and finding a couple cars to throw in there. And it still ended up being a pretty simple garage, but it's not just a big empty square space. It actually looks like it belongs there. So I threw in. I figured, whoever lives here, they're artists, right? I have, the keyboard and I have the easel, and just it's a good spot to hide some canvases and stuff. So just finishing up the outside. These lights weren't actually in the initial picture with the floor plan, but I always like putting some outdoor lights, and then just looking at the house in the dark. It looks nice when it's all illuminated. I didn't put a fence around the backyard just because the lot that I have it on, I like that little pond that's right there, so I left it open. Kind of looks like a country home with a nice big backyard. So now going into the screenshots, here's a side by side. I think I got it pretty close, minus of course the garage is a little weird, but there's the front entrance with the little side table. The living room, I think, ended up looking quite cozy, and nice view of the kitchen with those super fancy bar stools a little up closer to the kitchen. I've of course put my the necessary cereal box and cans back in that corner. That's the first little bathroom off to the left of the kitchen. This is the inside of this tiny little linen closet that I guess you can't really do anything with. The teen's bedroom with the bright colors. I actually really like how this turned out. It's very, very bright and summery looking in there. The guest bedroom with all the dark swatches. This is the master bedroom, which I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It doesn't look like an adult's room to me, but I don't know. It came out okay. And I really like how this bathroom ended up. Of course, I have that big open shower on off to the left again. And a nice double counter space, that big old closet in the back. And this is that tiny little bathroom next to the office, which I initially thought just had a sink in it. And laundry room, I just put all laundry day stuff in there. The office looks very nice and cozy. You could get a lot of studying done in here, a lot of work done. And here's the interior of the garage. I think it looks okay. Seeing as it's a garage, it doesn't really have to be decorated like anything, so I just threw in some clutter. A view of the backyard. It was a cloudy day and I couldn't figure out the weather cheat, so I apologize for the darkness of these screenshots, but I think it looks pretty cute, pretty simple little swing set for the kids. And here's the floor plan side by side. I think I got it pretty good. Thank you so much for watching.